One thing I forgot to change in here was that when we are setting up new levels, we're setting the score equal to 0. When we start a new level, we don't have to do that. We definitely need to do it when we restart the game. We don't have to do it when we set up a new level. So let's take it out here. So all I did was take out those two lines. So I want to give this a quick test and show you everything that's going on so far. So this line of code is going to produce an error because we haven't created that dialog yet. So just put a apostrophe in front of it, turn it into a comment. That'll make that error go away. As you're debugging, if you start a new game, go ahead and look in your output. Right here we have game restarted, and this was that debug line that we added. So control added 0, 1, 2. So these are the I values that comes from code. So what it's doing is iterating through all of your different blocks and setting them up correctly. Notice the index starts at 0, it goes up to 15. So if I go into my code, I set up so that my block count for my first level is 16. So that's why it sets up 15, because it starts at an index of 0. So right here in the restart, it's going through this block of code 16 times, and it's just adding control 0, control 1, control 2. And it's setting them all up that way. So if you went ahead and beat the level, I'm just going to hit C for level clear and hit OK. Notice down here in the output, it says level 2 started because there are 0 blocks remaining, and then it does the same exact thing. Okay, adds new blocks, stops at 11 because my block count is 12 right down in here in code. Block break count is 12. I just wanted to point out what the output down here could be used for to help debug different situations. It looks like that's working correctly. So if we play test, kind of look at what we got so far. So we're displaying the high score, and this is what it was in our text file that we created earlier. If we click play, it's going to set up our blocks. You can hit L to lose a life. You can play the game, you'll see the score increase. You can hit H to increase the score, or whatever key you set it to. And then you can hit C just to cheat, make it go faster. And you can see that you beat level 1. Well, that's interesting. The game is still playing right there. All right, see what playtesting can do. You find different errors like that. All right, so what we should do when we hit C, we're setting break count equal to 0. And what should happen is that we set can play equal to false. All right, so that's what we're forgetting to do. So let's put that in our cheat here. So can play equal to false. All right, we'll restart that. Try it out again if I hit C. All right, I'm not able to move the player at all. All right, looks good. As soon as I click OK, it takes me to the next level. Our level's updating correctly. I'll increase the score a little bit. Losing lives appropriately. We beat level 2 to the next level. Our score stays exactly the same. Resets our lives, and we're good to go. Okay, if you don't want lives to reset either, what you can do down here in our setup new level is you can take out the lives reset as well. I want every level to have the same amount of lives, so I'm going to leave that in. But if you don't want that, you can take it out. All right, so now we need the actual dialog to pop up. Say they lose the game. We want to update the high score that's shown on the main menu. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and create a dialog for this. So we're gonna add a new item from the project menu and click on dialog down here, and I'm gonna call it high score dialog. Okay, click add. It's going to add in very similar to a form. It's going to place this in. In my game script, now I can go ahead and take out that comment that I had you guys put in right down here in the reset objects. If we take that out, now there's no error because we actually have that dialog created. All right, and now we're just going to fix this to make it look like a form so that the user can change the high score. You guys can go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and jump to it. I think we're good at making forms by now, and I'll just show some of the properties that I have. Okay, folks, this is what my high score dialog looks like. Notice that my text up at the top of the dialog is still game over because they have lost the game. Then I just put on a message showing that notifying them that they do have a high score. We're going to display it here in this label. Make sure you give this name something appropriate so you can remember it. I went ahead and named it LBL for label, high score, and since we already have that, I put a 2 at the end. Remember, you can't use the same name twice, so that's why I put a 2 at the end. And then I have a name label, doesn't matter what that's called, but we do have a text box. We're going to grab this encode, so I gave this a name of namebox for the player name box. And then we have 2 buttons down here. I just changed the text property on these 2 buttons, one for enter, so that's accepting the changes, and if they don't want to put in their name, I'm allowing them to skip, so I went ahead and changed that to skip. I went ahead and put in 2 picture boxes. I uploaded a balloons picture, just some little picture to show them that this is a good screen because they got the high score, and I changed the image with choose image, and I changed it to size mode zoom. If you're struggling to get your text to drop on a new line, for example, this congratulations text, click on your label, and at the top in the properties panel, it should say auto size, change that to false. That'll give you these anchor points that you're allowed to drag it around. And then to get the text to center, I used text align property and changed it to middle center. You have a few different options in the center if you want top center or bottom center. I chose middle. All right, once you get your form to look something like this, there should definitely be a text box and a button, and then some type of place to display what the high score is. So right click and go into code view, so we can go ahead and coding some things into this. All right, maybe a little complex here at first, but we have our cancel button. So the cancel button is the skip button. We really don't need to hold the value of what they click on the cancel. All we really want it to do is to close, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that first line. All right, for the OK button, that's the button that I changed to say enter. All right, we're going to have to call some code in here. So we do want this dialog result variable. So what this does is create a new variable and hold it to what the user clicks on. So we want to say if me.dialog result, and it's basically going to say the same thing here. So if you want to copy and paste this, you can. Just put an if in front of it. Then, all right, so this is saying if they want to actually enter in their information, or their player name, I guess is all they have. All right, what we need to do is set the player name variable that we created. And again, it has to be coming from the main menu script. So if we check that out right here, created that variable a little while ago from the main menu. And we're going to set this equal to name box and then the text that the user has typed in. So that's right here. So whatever this is, that's going to set it equal to our variable. All right, after that, we want to write this to the file that we created that's in score.txt. Okay, so this file right here where we have the name and the score. All right, so we want main menu.file number. Again, we're going to open up a free file so that we can write to it. File open. And our open mode here is going to be .output because we are now going to write to this file. And we're going to grab println.mainMenu.file number. So this is going to overwrite the first line in that score.txt file with the player name. And we'll do the same thing on the second line, only we're going to do that with the score. There we are. And after we print those lines, we're just going to close it. That way we free up some memory space. And we're not using so much processing power on the computer. And that'll be it for this event. And then the very last event, anytime that dialog is going to be shown, we want to update the score right here. So to make that happen, we're going to create a new event in the high score dialog code. So make sure you click on, in the left drop box, high score dialog events. On the right side, we're going to look for shown right here. So anytime this dialog is shown, we're going to grab the high score label, which I called label high score 2, change its text, and we still want it to say high score. We got to tell the user what it's actually showing, and then we grab the correct variable. So main menu dot high score. All right, so this is it for our dialog box. All right, let's go ahead and test this out. See if we find any errors. All right, so this is what it looks like to begin with. No one has a high score yet. Go ahead and play. All right, getting a little bit of score. All right, let's say we lose all our lives on level 1. Just going to use my shortcuts here to make it go faster. As soon as we lose all our lives, our dialog pops up. Game is over. However, we did get a new score because it's higher than 0. We could type in our name. So I'm just going to type in my name, hit enter. The game over menu pops up, or the restart menu, as we called it, pops up. They can either start a new game or quit to main menu. If I quit to main menu, it doesn't look like we've actually called this right here. So we have to get that to get set up now. And that's pretty easy to do. What we need to do is access our restart menu code. And right here where we're having our main menu show, we just need to put in one more line of code that grabs the main menu and it runs that refresh subroutine that we called right down here. So that box on the main menu isn't going to be reset until we again grab the file and reload it with the correct information. So all we're going to do is grab that code and say main menu dot refresh high score. That was the name of the subroutine. As soon as I click off of that, there's no errors. We should probably do the same thing on our pause menu too, because that's going to do the same exact thing. So if you open up your pause menu, go to code, again, we're going to show the main menu if they choose quit. So it's exactly the same line of code, main menu dot refresh high score. All right, let's test that out, make sure it works. Okay, as soon as I load the main menu, notice it pops it in. So our high score is 30 by me. All right, so our code from before on our last playtest went ahead and saved it. If you look at that text file, if I try and open Notepad, it gives me this. If you want to reload it, hit yes. And here's the correct information, Jordan, and high score of 30. All right, if I hit play, let's get a higher high score. I'm going to cheat and just hit H a few times. So let's try a score of 70. Hit C. Oops, I'm sorry. C went to the new level. That's okay though. Seems like that worked okay. Gonna hit L for lives lost. And again, our high score is 70. I'm going to type in a new name just to make sure it works. So I'll try Joe. Hit enter. Quit to main menu. And there's our high score, 70 by Joe. All right, try playing it again. If we don't get a high score now and we lose, notice it skips the high score dialog, goes straight into game over. And that's because we coded in the lives, if I can find it right here. So if lives is less than or equal to 0, so here's our check if score is greater than high score. So if that's not the case, it goes straight into restart menu. All right, start new game. Looks like it started correctly. Now, one issue is if we beat all of our 3 levels, so beat 1, beat level 2, beat level 3, since we don't have a new level set up, it's just going to go right into level 4 and all of my blocks display in the top left. Okay, what you could do to prevent this is in the setup new level, if level is equal to 4, then you could say that the player beat the game and they can't play any further. This is as far as we're going to get in programming our game. I know that I included a ball type, and I was going to change the ball type and maybe drop some power-ups when you drop or hit the blocks, but I think we're going to stop it there. If you want to see that and there's enough interest in that, I can make tutorials for that later. The only thing I want to polish up is to show you guys how to build and actually install your project on the computer. And if you want to, you do have your project folder on the desktop. Right here you have your project folder. If you want to copy that to your Google Drive or you want to put it on a flash drive and take it home now that you have a finished project, feel free to do that. But to show you actually how to install it on your computer, basically what you're going to do is go up to Debug and click on Build Breakout. Okay, mine's Breakout 3 because I've tested it quite a few times and made these tutorials, but as soon as you click on this, it's going to go ahead and build it. It really doesn't tell you to. From your main project, go into the name of the game, bin, release. This is the release of your application right here. So if you click on the .exe, it'll run you through the steps on how to install. So that's it for the Breakout Tutorials series. If you have questions, either ask me in class. Those of you at home can email me at weaverjor@alliancecityschools.org, or you can contact me on Twitter. My handle is pot0. And good luck.